yeah, I guess it's not that big of an issue. I'll start by saying that next week we're canceling this call because it's during ETC and we have, well, many other activities planned. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of you too, so might as well not do it. Yeah, and then for sure, let's see if other people are joining from that team. Yeah, Gateway, do you have any updates? Although I guess there's no one from Gateway here, right? All right, for testing, can you give an update, Igor?
Yeah, sure. So for the withdrawal suits, Nethermind is fine, and also Erigon passes all tests except one. We have no run result on a dashboard due to, I guess, GitHub Actions runner issue, since Erigon suit runs very, very long time and we are facing timeout, but it should be not very complex to figure out. And regarding the Cancun tests, we have controversial situation currently, since suit fixes for Erigon breaking the Nethermind suit, and we find out that we have different behavior in the same testing environment for the clients. Currently, Nethermind client is including only one blob per block for execution payload. Most likely it's gas accounting issue or setup problem, but at that point we probably would ask somebody from the client team to probably support us to figure out. Yeah, sure. Please go
on. So one blob per block is the target, right?
Yes.
Okay, but the test expects 2 because it's expects the max, right? I'm correct here?
Yes, that's right. So, for example, we have current suit, and we run both clients, and it we have first payload includes only one blob for both clients, which is also strange. And then the second payload on the Erigon side, 2 blobs included in the payload, and 1 blob included on the Nethermind side. So it would be nice to know that it's as I said, most likely clients are fine, but to double check if it's properly tested on the client side, and probably we will need any help. Yeah, please.
Also, want to just point out one thing, that block production, as long as it's correct, it's not consensus, right? As long as the block product that are produced are correct blocks and transactional included, they can vary between implementations. So not sure what's happening there. But it doesn't have to be a bug or anything. It might be just different behavior and based on something.
Would be great if you send us logs or point out what test exactly is failing, or Dimitra has this knowledge. So.
Yeah, I have collected all logs, requests, and response, so I can send it.
Okay, And the question, just to clarify for withdrawals, is Nethermind 1 test is not passing and we don't know what's going on, and it still might be test issue. Am I correct here?
Maybe this is GitHub action issue because yesterday all the tests passed.
Okay, so from my practice with Hive test and GitHub Runner, sometimes there are unfortunately flaky tests. Igor?
Yeah, one failing on the withdrawal side was for Erigon.
So it was Erigon
Yeah.
with one test, not Nethermind. Okay.
Yeah, but it's most likely like not client related, and it's not very big of an issue comparing to the like Cancun situation we have. So do you need something else in sense of like to be able to help us figure out with the Cancun except Hive suite logs, or like any logs that we have like right now, maybe like additional traces or whatever?
Yeah, logs and the name of the test, and it should be a good start. If I think it should be enough for us to explore this.
Okay.
All right. So the shadow guys are not here, are not coming. The gateway still no one from gateway. So let's move directly to client updates. Nethermind.
Yeah, so Petra stuff, but other than that, we started working on EAP44s for Aura formats, for pre-merge Aura formats. It is possible that it will work, but I need to check with others. And then we could potentially export some data to torrents and test the entire process. So this is working on right now. We are working on this. And what else? We started discussing if we can bring PBS, so MEV boost to Gnosis Chain internally, and it's possible that maybe we have everything that is needed, but we need to double check this code. But just wanted to let know everyone that we are exploring this topic. So MEV boost, as I understand, for Gnosis Chain will be important, especially for Shutter, to allow other clients to propose blocks that were built with Shutter transactions. Yeah, and that's mostly it. If other have updates, then.
I guess not. So Erigon, any news?
Not really, unless Somnath has something to add.
No, so I was testing Erigon 3. It seems like there are a few rough edges still, but it still sort of works. It's able to catch up to close to the tip on Gnosis, and that's all.
I have a question to Erigon team. If we drop receipts from alt receipts from Gnosis Chain, would it be problematic for Erigon or just blocks?
What do you mean problematic?
I don't know. So because the full node stores right now alt blocks and alt receipts. That's like kind of a common definition of full node. That is how it works in Geth and probably in Bezo as well. And potentially other nodes can download those receipts. for their usage, but I'm not sure if you store old receipts on your Erigon node. So, question.
So yeah, in Erigon 2, we store them in the database. In Erigon 3, I'm not sure because the thinking has changed a few times. At one point, we didn't want to store them in Erigon 3, but regardless, I think it will not be a problem for us because even with old blocks, we now we rely on our own snapshots for to distribute old blocks. So if other clients don't stop serving them, we'll still be fine. And yeah, the same. I think if we decide to store receipts, we'll have snapshots for receipts as well.
All right, thank you.
All right. Geth, any news?
Since last week, yes, I was able to download the state and the chain from presumably a Nethermind node on Shadow, and so that works. At the end of it, the process that continues and so the healing also starts. So all that stuff works. But as it starts executing new blocks, it runs into an issue where, well, there's a panic, and it has to do with the way the gas limit construct is handling this. So it seems to be different between Shadow and mainnet. So yeah, I'm currently investigating this. I'm sure it's yet another configuration issue, but yeah, I'm still digging.
Yes, Lukasz?
So it might be an issue with system address, how it's handled differently in our networks than how it was implemented in Geth. So that's a hint to check. I think the idea is that system address, even if it's empty, is not deleted from the database. So one hint to check.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I did have some issue like this when I did the full sync of mainnet. So I know at least my handling of whatever is on mainnet works. So yeah, I don't think it's related to EIP 158. By the way, hoping to delete this. I pushed an EIP yesterday to do that. Yeah, that was an aside, but no. In theory, it's like I really see the contract being called and returning a value that is not correct. So the contract is there. I know it hasn't been deleted. I just don't know why it's answering something invalid, basically.
Yes, so just to be clear, the full sync works on mainnet and continues to work. This is specifically for Shadow.
Yep. I mean, just to be clear as well, snap sync works on mainnet, or at least every time we tried, it worked. Or if it didn't, I didn't get a bug report. But as far as I know, it does work on mainnet. It's just Shadow specific.
Have you tried a full sync for Shadow?
No, because I was hoping to not worry about this, but this is an option. I kind of want to see if the whole the whole process of skipping the full sync works. But yes, I could do that as well.
Awesome. All right, Wrath, I don't think there's any updates. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lion.
Yeah, no updates this week.
All right. And then I guess some Shutter guys joined. So there were two things I kind of wanted to address, but are not necessarily core dev directly related. One of them is that before going mainnet, I think we should probably have some analytics to be able to follow what's actually going on in the network, like maybe some Grafana dashboards or whatever, with the number of transactions that are created, like each other and post it to the sequencer contracts, and then compare that to the transactions actually included. And presumably we can also do some way where you can see that one encrypted transaction corresponds to one executed on chain, so that we can analyze also why some didn't get included or things like that. I think that would be very interesting, and it's important to debug the network. I don't know if there's something already in place for this. I'm just saying this as if there weren't. And yeah, again, then also why debug why some transactions were not included. Maybe it's an invalid transaction, there are too many transactions, keys were not generated by keepers, there's a duplicate nonce or things like that. Okay, I guess there's something already, or I can't access the repo though. And then UX-wise, I also have some concerns that I guess when you sign, well, you have to sign a transaction first, right? Then encrypt it and post it to the sequencer contracts with a previous nonce. And well, if transactions don't get included immediately, I guess nonces could get invalidated by the time they are actually like executed by a validator. Is there anything planned in that regard, or is it just is this something we'll have to live with forever? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so these are actually really good points to address. So as I just sent the link, I didn't know that, the repo is private still. I didn't know that, I wasn't aware, but we will make it public. So we are actively developing exactly a metric tool for this right now to kind of see what's going on in the network. It will basically fetch the encrypted transactions from the sequencer, then we'll listen to the decryption keys and the key shares, and then also monitor if the transaction got included in the block where it was supposed to be included, or in the slot where it was supposed to be included. We also currently working, or my colleague is working on a Prometheus endpoint, or that's already done, I think. So Grafana dashboard is next. So you will have something there soon. Regarding like the actual data, we cannot obviously currently test this on mainnet. So if you want data for testnet, that is possible, but for mainnet we need validators first to join and register, right? When we have that, then we can. I think it makes sense to run this metric service also on mainnet, or we will do it now in this week and next week. Regarding the reason why they weren't included, that's always something we can see then retroactively, basically, or retrospectively. So we can look at it and see like maybe the transaction was invalid. So we are aware of this, but we currently don't have a way to show it. The nonce issue is also an interesting topic. So you're right that when a transaction is in the encrypted mempool, it uses the nonce, and it can be like the same nonce could be reused. And that pretty much depends also on the wallet, how they act, or like how they act for pending transactions. So for example, MetaMask will take the pending transaction in the encrypted mempool into account and will try to send it with a new nonce, also the next nonce. Sometimes at some point, the encrypting RPC will have to reason about the transactions, what to do with it. So for example, cancellation transactions, we already filtering and sending them directly to the mempool. So if there's a pending nonce in the encrypted mempool, or like in the sequencer contract, it will most likely be, or like the cancellation transaction will most likely be included first. And that's what the user wants typically, right? So, and there are like tons of other edge cases and situations where you can mess up with the nonce. Happy to talk about this more.
Just one question from my side here. I mean, I can imagine that this currently works in its initial rollout, which is actually kind of going through one centralized entity that is providing that. But once this is actually decentralized, in a sense that users are locally encrypting their transactions, there's no way for anyone to see that a that, for example, you have an underpriced transaction, right? So how do we prevent spamming of this encrypted mempool actually?
The spamming is currently protected by paying a small fee to the sequencer contract, which is related
upon including something into the mempool.
Yes.
Okay, so this thing will not get. Yeah. Okay, so it will basically not get broadcasted before. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So is there already like an easy way to, let's say, replay those transactions to to check why they were potentially invalid, for example? Like, can you on Nethermind say, I want to re-execute this like shutter block and see why one transaction was not included? Or is this something like, I can imagine that would be fairly complicated, right?
Yeah, so at the moment, we can do all of this stuff just by looking at the Nethermind logs. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much of it will also be implemented by this new metrics thing. But yeah, I'm doing debugging and just looking through, and I can see why a transaction failed to decrypt, for example.
Is it something you can also in Nethermind add to Prometheus, like to your endpoints?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, no, I think we should be able to.
We should be able, but we are not doing it right now, I guess. On the
Yeah, this wouldn't be a...
Yes, but during the block building, from what I remember, not. So for Shutter, the block building part would be important, but of course we could do it. It shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I think we should be able to add this, but wouldn't be a priority until after the Shutter launch. I can also give just a general update. So we're currently QA testing the experimental release, and Frederick and other people on the Shutter team are testing the Shutter functionality. Should just let you type for this.
This is the release that is planned to be like exactly the same for mainnet, right?
Yeah. So we have an experimental release that is currently being tested on Shadow, which should be the final release, maybe with a few extra bug fixes. So there's a couple of issues that we're looking into. So one, like some transactions aren't being included at the moment, so that could be potentially a problem with some of the encrypting front ends or with decryption or decoding. So we're just kind of debugging, trying to work out what the problem is there. And also, so someone at Gnosis was trying to set up a node, and they were having some like dependency issues, which seems like it's just a problem on Linux ARM64. So I'm looking into that. And then we're also discussing who's going to run the initial validator set. So Nethermind will run some of the initial nodes. And I'm also discussing with Gateway to see if they're happy to run the experimental release on their nodes as well.
Yeah, so that ARM issue is something that needs to be done for sure. We know a lot of people who run nodes on ARM, including us. So, yeah. By the way, were there any updates on Ethereum/tests, or, I mean, not the Hive tests, the other ones?
No updates so far.
All right. Anything else for? Yeah, sorry, that was completely unrelated. Anything else for Shutter or other topics? I guess not. Well, then, yeah. Just as a reminder, we are canceling next week's ETC. Also, for those who joined a bit later. Sorry, next week's core desk call because of ETC. And yeah, thanks for joining, and see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see
Thank
you
you,
at
guys.
ETC.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.